Hey everybody. More sad news. More sad news from Israel. It's really crazy. Really, really crazy. There are 4 new orphans in Israel. 4 new orphans in the Jewish people. Little kids. A 28-year-old mother named Kim was murdered in this latest terror attack today. And a 35-year-old man, father of 3, named Tzvi, I think, was murdered this morning. It's just despicable. Despicable. Like this is even talked about. This is actually happening. It's sick. Hello, Margaret. Hello, Yaakov. Thank you for listening. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, I'll just go into the details. I actually wanted to go there today, but logistics didn't work out, and the place was closed off. You're talking about the Barkan Industrial Park. Now, just 5 months ago, I was at the Barkan Industrial Park with Ari Fold. Ari was there, I was there, and a whole busload of activists for Israel were there. Why? Why were we at the Barkan Industrial Park that is in today's headlines, where 3 Jews were shot, 2 killed? His name was Ziv. Thank you, Yaakov. 2 killed and 1, a 54-year-old woman who was moderately injured in the hospital. So why were we at this Barkan Industrial Park 5 months ago? So you have to understand, the Arab Muslims who live in Judea and Samaria are oppressed by their own people, right? If you can even call them people. They're not a people. They're oppressed by the Palestinian Authority. All right, let's just say it. They're oppressed by the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian Authority is taking your tax money, European tax money, American tax money, Israeli tax money to fund terror. They are not using the billions of dollars in international aid to develop the economy, to build schools, to build hospitals, to develop jobs. They don't do that. They're using the billions of dollars of aid that the world gives them on a silver platter to murder Jews, to incite children in their textbooks in schools to murder Jews, to develop television programming for their children on Palestinian Authority television, inciting these children to murder Jews. I don't know if you heard, but just last week, an 8-year-old, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, 8, just so everyone understands, an 8-year-old kid tried to stab I don't know whether it was soldiers or Israelis, just last week. An 8-year-old! Where in the world are 8-year-olds taught to stab and to murder? Oh, I'll tell you, the Palestinian Authority and Hamas. They are taught to murder us. There are videos going around of parents showing their kids, this is how you stab. And you see a little girl, 2, 3-year-old girl, 1, 2, right? Or 1, 2, 3. Tiny kids. Stabbing. Going like this with a knife. A real knife. A real knife. A parent gives their kid, 2 or 3 years old, a real knife to practice stabbing, and they are taught to stab innocent Jews. The world gives billions of dollars to this murderous, cult-like society of fake people that never existed in history called Palestinians. The term Palestine was invented as part of the strategy to destroy Israel. They say it themselves in their videos. Go to the Palestinian Media Watch YouTube channel. Go to Memory Video YouTube channel. Both very important organizations that take Arabic programming and put English subtitles or Hebrew subtitles so we can see what they're actually saying. And they are talking about destroying Israel and killing Jews. The whole peace process is a sham. It is a deceit that they talk in English in using liberal language. Oh, we want peace, right? Abbas and just at the United Nations. Yes, we want peace. We hate terror. No, he is a terrorist. He supports terror. And 2 more innocent Jews. 28-year-old Kim murdered. 35-year-old Ziv murdered. Kim has a 2-year-old baby. Ziv has 3 children. Their spouses are now widows. And 4 new orphans. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the Western liberal world, including us, including friends and family of yours, we accept the lies. We accept the lies that there is a people called Palestinians. No! There is nobody called Palestinians in history. It was created just decades ago, back in the 1940s. If you look, anyone look, you look and hear and read history. The United Nations partition plan of 1947, right? That famous plan to create 2 states for the Jews and the Arabs. There is no mention of a state of Palestine for Palestinians. 1947, 70 years ago. Read what the United Nations resolution states. It says the establishment of a state for the Jews and establishment for the state of the Arabs. There is no mention of Palestinians or that a Palestine belongs to Palestinians. That does not exist in the United Nations resolution of 1947. Why? Because they did not exist in 1947. There was never a people called Palestinians in history. In history. You know what? Sometimes they say, oh, we're descendants of the Philistines, right? Because the Philistines are in the Bible, right? The Philistines who fought the Jews. Right? The Philistines stole the Ark of the Covenant, right? Shimshon, Samson, he fought the Philistines to get the covenant, Ark of the Covenant back from the Philistines. So here, listen to the hypocrisy and the lies that they get away with. Here they say, we are descendants of the Philistines, but you Jews have no right to this land. Sorry, not you. The Philistines were fighting the Jews in the Bible. So yes, the Jews have a right to this land. So that's point number 1. Point number 2. You're trying to say you're descendants of the Philistines? Well, the Philistines disappeared from the history book for thousands of years. So please, if you are descendants, can you please give us the historical timeline showing that you're descended from them, that you're connected from them? Because I'm a Jew. And you know what? I have the lineage. I could prove that I'm related to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the 12 tribes. We lived here 3,000 years ago, and I could show you in the history books that we lived here 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago. I could tell you the rabbis that used to live here, the rabbis that used to visit here. I could tell you that the Talmud, the how do you say Talmud? Not the written law, but the oral law. That the oral law, the Talmud, some of it was written here. In Tiberias, we have our lineage. The Jews have our lineage. We have the proof that the Jews today are connected to our ancestors thousands of years ago. And yet the world allows these fake people called Palestinians to lie and say that, oh, they're descendants of the Philistines from the Bible. Well, you can't be connected and descended to a people that you have no documentation, no lineage whatsoever for thousands of years. The Philistines disappeared from the history books, and now you say thousands of years later you're descended? No, you're liars. They can't give a cultural Palestinian icon from 100 years ago, right? Go ask them for a cultural icon, a Palestinian from the 1800s, from the 1700s, from the 1600s. They have nobody. Nobody. Thank you. Talmud is the English for Gemara. Thank you, Shani. I appreciate that. They have nobody, so they lie. And then you have those same people say, oh, no. We're not descended from the Philistines. We're descended from the Canaanites, right? They pull another Bible people, the Canaanites, right? So again, the Jews here were at the same time as the Canaanites. So you can't say you're from the Canaanites and say that the Jews have no connection. You can't use a Bible term and then say that the Jews have no right here, because that just doesn't work. And again, show us your lineage. Show us your connection, because the Canaanites disappeared for thousands of years. It's a lie. It's a lie. There is no such thing as Palestinian people who have a right to this land. And they use that lie to kill us. To kill us. They killed Ari on that lie, and today they killed Kim and Ziv using that lie, and they're going to continue using that lie to kill us. And the world lets it happen. And this is the thing. We can stop it, folks. We can stop it. It's up to you and me. It's about calling out their lies, telling our relatives, telling our friends. The Palestine issue is a lie. It is one big lie. This is the land of the Jewish people. It does not belong to a fake people called Palestinians. It is that simple. They have no right to kill us. They should be the ones punished. They should be the ones expelled for inciting their children to kill us. They should be the ones in jails. They should be the ones without rights. And yet they complain to the world, oh, this is our land and that's why we kill, because we're being occupied. No, they are the occupiers. It is the Arabs who've come here over the years. It's the Muslims who've come here over the years. They are the occupiers. Just as the Muslim world occupied the whole Middle East and parts of North Africa. They are a conquering entity. That's what Islam is. Islam conquers. Islam conquers by the sword. That's what Islam is. It conquers. People have to learn their history. Islam conquers by the sword. It's that simple. What happened to the Christians and the Yazidis and the Druze? All of these people have been conquered. They are the indigenous populations of the Middle East. But over the centuries, Muslims have conquered them and subjugated them and persecuted them. Now they're minorities, and Islam is the majority of the Middle East and of some countries in North Africa. That is the truth. So Brian is bringing up the next point I was going to bring here, and it's going back to the Barkan Industrial Park. So Ari and I went there 5 months ago with a whole group of Israel activists, Israel advocates. Why'd they bring us there? They brought us to show true coexistence between Jews and Muslims. Right? And again, I'm going to point this out. Charlotte saying, we were named the Palestinians by the Romans. 100%, Charlotte, exactly. Like I try to tell people, Jews were the original Palestinians, right? It was a name invented by the Romans. So who was living here at the time? The Jews. They destroyed the Jewish empire. They destroyed Jerusalem. They destroyed our temple. And then they wanted to destroy every mention of Judea and the Jewish people. So they renamed Judea Palestine. Who was living here at the time? The surviving Jews. So it was surviving Jews who were called Palestinians. So we want to live in peace, right? We want to live in peace. Well, here's the secret to peace. And Barkan is part of that secret. It is a Israeli industrial park with Israeli companies that employ Arab Muslims who live in Judea and Samaria. It is based on the understanding that we can have an economic peace. The Palestinian Authority does not use the billions of dollars in international aid to develop industry and jobs for the Arabs who live in Judea and Samaria. We do. The Barkan Industrial Park is a place where we provide jobs for the Arabs who live in Judea and Samaria. And they have Israeli salaries, and they have Israeli social benefits. They don't get any benefits in the Palestinian Authority. So here you have the Barkan Industrial Park with Israeli companies where Jews and Arabs work together, and we are allowing the Arabs to live decently, respectfully, getting whatever, I don't know, 10 times the amount of money as a salary than they would get if they'd have a job under the Palestinian Authority, and they're not even providing jobs for them. So they'd be jobless, and we give them good jobs, respectful jobs, a good salary, social benefits. So it is a symbol of the economic peace that Jews and Arab Muslims are able to live together with. But here's what's missing. What's missing is that true peace is only going to happen and grow when we finally tell the world that Palestine is a lie, that Palestinians are a lie, and it's all part of a big strategy to murder Jews and destroy Israel. Because even these baby steps of coexistence that we try to do, that Israel tries to do, we don't want to kill anybody. We don't want to kill Arabs. We want to live in peace together. But they make us kill them. And we are giving them jobs. We want to develop the economy to live peacefully together. But so long as we admit to the world that a Palestine has credence and that these Palestinians deserve to have their own state, we are feeding the beast. Because when they say occupation, they're not talking about occupation in Judea and Samaria. They're talking about occupation in Haifa and Akko and Jaffa and Tzfat and Tiberias. So the second we give credence to the existence of a people called Palestinians and credence to the possibility of establishing a state called Palestine, then we are giving credence to their anti-Semitic creed that Jews have no right here and they have every right to kill us because we are occupiers. Therefore, the only time that this economic peace will work, that these Barkan joint industrial parks where Jews and Arabs live together, where we give work to the Arabs, it will only work when we finally erase the validity of a Palestine and of a group of people called Palestinians, because they are a fake people created to destroy Israel and kill Jews. So again, to sum up, my point is as follows. It is possible for us to live peacefully with our Arab neighbors. It is. But only those who want to live in peace with us because they are educated to kill us. And only when Israel, and that includes when all your friends and family, and all of my friends and family, finally call a spade, Palestine is a lie. Palestinians are a lie. They're a fake people created as a strategy to destroy Israel and murder Jews. This is our land. This is the land of the Jewish people. Anyone who wants to live peacefully with us can live peacefully with us. We will take care of them. We will give them jobs. We will give them social benefits. But only when the notion of a Palestine is erased from the world. And only when the notion that there is a people called Palestinians is erased from the world. They are Arabs, nothing distinct from other Arabs in the Middle East. So once again here in Israel, we're mourning 2 more Jews who were murdered. 2 more Jews who were murdered. And a 3rd who was injured. And I wish I could tell you that's going to stop tomorrow. I wish I could tell you. I don't want to cry anymore. I want to cry out of happiness. I want to cry when people are getting married, when children are getting married, when people are celebrating, when they're witnessing the beauties of life, when they're witnessing the Jewish nation coming alive in our homeland, when they're seeing our holy sites, when they're seeing not holy sites, but here in Israel, the Jewish people who are alive, we're back in our homeland. I want to cry out of happiness. I don't want to cry out of sadness anymore, because 1 more Jew was murdered. Because people we know continue to believe the lie that a Palestine has to exist. That they continue to believe the lie that a fake people called Palestinians deserve our sympathy. No, they don't deserve our sympathy. Individual Arabs deserve sympathy because they're being persecuted by their own Arab Muslim leadership, used as pawns. But they don't deserve our sympathy to make us think, oh, let's give away Jewish land because they're terrorizing us and murdering us so they can have their own state, because that own state will just be used to further murder us and further destroy us because they don't care about Judea and Samaria. Their occupation, they want to go back. They want not go back. They want to take it all away from us. Jaffa, Tel Aviv, Haifa, Akko, Tiberias, they want to take it all away from us. So we will continue to be killed so long as the lie of Palestine and Palestinians is considered valid. So this is Ari's legacy, folks. Help us. Help me. Help us. Educate people. Stop talking about Palestine, that it exists or should exist. Stop talking about Palestinians, that they exist or shouldn't exist. There are Arabs that we need to live in peace with them, and we have to save them from themselves. And from themselves is calling out their lies so that we can then get rid of the terrorists and get rid of the terror and get rid of their textbooks and get rid of their television programming. And then we are fully in charge to ensure that they who want to live peacefully with us will be able to live peacefully with us. And those who support terror in any way, well, they're either expelled, jailed, or killed because of that support of terror. So the only ones who remain to live here are those who want to live peacefully with us, and they're kept in their place to live peacefully with us because they understand Israel's not going to allow any of this anymore. It's just crazy. Another two Jews, innocent Jews, murdered. Another 4 orphans couldn't grow up without their parents, without one of their parents. Crazy. Folks, help me keep Ari's legacy alive. Stop giving credence to Palestine. Stop giving validity to the existence of a fake people called Palestinians. Help me pump that message out there. That is what Ari was always doing. Help me keep Ari's legacy alive. Let's get the truth out there. Let's get the truth out there. The difference is only going to come when they are called out and when enough Jews and Israelis and the Israeli government understand that there's no more support for those lies. So help me tell the truth. Help me tell the truth that Ari tried to tell all the time, folks. Help, please, help. We don't want any other people killed. We don't. So long as they try to kill us, we will stand up and defend ourselves, because that is our God-given right. Any people has the right to defend themselves, especially in their own homeland, especially in self-defense. All right. I'm just going to go through some of your messages, folks. Bear with me. Margaret, my condolences. Thank you, Margaret. Celestine, our hearts are with you and feeling your pain. Thank you so much, Celestine. Alexander, thank you for doing this. Well, Alexander, thank you and everyone else for watching. And share this video. Please share this video. Share the truth. Share this video. Please. Tammy, this is so sad. It's very, very sad. I didn't even put up the picture. But just to see the woman, 28-year-old woman, she's young, prime of her life, young 2-year-old a child, I don't know, boy or girl. And then the father of 3. So kick all Muslims out of Israel, Carl writes. Carl, I'm not going to say that I support kicking all Muslims out of Israel. I will say that one of the solutions is let them leave, right? Let's give them economic incentives to leave and go other places, whether to other Muslim countries or other places around the world that want to take them in. But if you support terror and you don't want to live peacefully with us, then get out of here. And here, take money to help you get out of here. So that I'll definitely say. Helena, Lydia, Shalom, Celestine, may Almighty comfort you. Thank you so much, Celestine. Holly, that's why I said we Americans should demand to stop aid to Palestine. Exactly, Holly. To the Palestinian Authority, all right? Again, let's stop using the word Palestine. There never was a Palestine that belongs to Palestinians, so let's stop using that language so that we could stop other people from using that language, right? But the Palestinian Authority exists as an entity. We'll call it that, even though they represent a fake people. And yes, America should stop giving aid, and President Trump is starting to do that. He's the first one to start to do that. America is not funding terrorism anymore, Cameron writes. Unfortunately, they still are, but again, President Trump is trying to stop it, which is good, and the Taylor Force Act, which is part of starting that process. And they're definitely big kudos to President Trump and his administration for starting that. Psalm 27:1, Celestine writes, "Forgive me, Celestine, I'm not as an expert of exactly which sentence is which paragraph in the Tanakh, but I imagine if it's Psalms that King David wrote, it is a beautiful sentence." Alexander, yes. The boy threw a knife at IDF soldiers near a checkpoint on road through 443. Yeah, that was last week. That was about the 8-year-old I was talking about. That even an 8-year-old is stabbing, that they teach their 2- and 3-year-olds to stab. It's crazy. Namey, Akira, so sad. Yeah, Margaret, shame on those people, 100%. Tammy, the world is so messed up. All right, but so on that, Tammy, the world is so messed up, it's up to us to fix it. And we can do it. We can do it. We just have to spread the truth. We can do it. We can do it one person at a time. Just tell the truth one person at a time. And we could do it. Karen, so sad. Margaret, God is on your side. Thank you, Margaret. And I know that. Adi Chevriz, that heartbreaking. Amal said, no such thing. Exactly, Amal. No such thing called Palestine. And Amal, Christian, we have an Arabic icon up there, so it looks like you're a Christian Arab or related to Christian Arab. And so you know it, Christians are persecuted by the Muslims. And there's no such thing called Palestine. Anna, there never was, never is not, never will be such an entity of people called Palestinians, neither a place called Palestine. Exactly, Anna. That's exactly the message we have to pump out there day in, day out on Facebook, on Twitter, talking to people. Get it out there. We need more people to get it. Only when they see that they have no support anymore will we then have the support to stop them and stop all this murder. It's horrible that that's necessary, but that's the reality, and I wish it wasn't. Lori, heartbreaking. Donna, heartbreaking. Randy, what? Hello, Donna. Anna, Arafat, the worldwide terrorist, was an Egyptian. Yep, exactly, Anna. He was born in Egypt. Evelyn, this is terrible news, so sad. Alexander, I posted about this hours ago. Palestinians are a false identity fabricated for Arab solidarity, specifically to have a united front against Jews being in Israel and the formation of a Jewish state in the Middle East. There never existed a state of Palestine, and it still doesn't. 100% true, Alexander. Keep on pumping it out there. Every day, pump that message out there. Lori, praying for the families of those murdered. What is the condition of the other victim? Good question. Don't know, Lori. Good question. If I find out, I will post it. Sharon, hello from Sharon, Illinois. Thank you, Sharon, for watching. Jay, Jeff, Gemara, yeah. Shani, the Talmud is the English for Gemara. Yes, thank you, Shani. Debbie made a face. Alexander, bingo. Any honest study of history, archaeology, religion, literature, music, culture, and more all reveal that Jews have been here for over 3,300 years. Exactly. And people who basically say that Jews don't belong here, that Jews are occupiers, they are deniers of fact and history. And it's basically, that's what you call anti-Semitism. Because what else are they going to deny history for? Except when it comes to the Jews taking away our homeland. Charlotte, this will not stop till Lieberman and Bibi stop letting Jews bleed when they find their balls again. Yeah, unfortunately, Charlotte, again, I think it's a little deeper. Part of the problem is Israeli politicians, even the right. You're talking about Lieberman and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So long as the world and even many Jews and Israelis accept the narrative that there are Palestinians that we need to be taken care of, that they deserve their own self-rule, that they're not going to take the steps necessary to end this totally. And it starts with us educating one person at a time to finally disqualify the validity of the lie called Palestine and the lie called Palestinian people. Allah, again, yes, very sad. West, stand with Israel. Thank you so much, Mary. Alexander, the Canaanites were completely destroyed. Zero proof of their descendants. Exactly, Alexander. Jay, evict all Arabs from the Jewish state. All right, yeah, I talked about that before. Jay, I do think voluntary economic incentives for them to leave will work, and that's definitely something positive. If you think about the amount of money that the world has given to the Palestinian Authority and to Hamas, if that instead was divided up and given as a financial incentive for all these Arabs to move other places around the world, or even to other Arab countries, right? The world would have saved billions of dollars, right? Even giving, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to each one of these Arabs who lives in Judea and Samaria and Gaza, the world would have saved billions of dollars. Just think of that. and all the money that Israel spent on defense against all of their terror, we would have spent we would have saved billions of dollars. So we could still save. Philistines perished, so did Canaanites. Exactly, Charlotte. Yonah, there is not a P in Arabic, right? If they are really from the Philistine, they cannot pronounce their own name. Exactly. That's one of the sad jokes about Palestine and Palestinians. They can't even pronounce their own name. So how can they be that? They're not. Marianne, my deepest condolences. Thank you, Maria. Yonah, they call it Palestine. Exactly, because they can't pronounce P. Amal, they are evil. Yep. Alone, it needs to end its madness. 100% alone. Alexander, yes, it's up to us to raise a united Zion front to crush those animals. Yep, and it's based on, we have to convince one person at a time. One person at a time, folks. Karen, thank you for the thumbs up. Maria, yes, silence is acceptance. Exactly, Maria. That's why we can't be silent. And another thing, folks, so long as they're allowed to murder us here, we're giving credence for them to murder, but also based on the evil teachings within Islam, to murder us infidels in America, in Australia, in Canada, in Europe. So if you want to save your own countries, you have to stand with Israel. Call out the lie against Palestine so you can save lives in your own country. That's what it's about. When someone says, what do I care? It's Israel, it's Palestine, let them fight it out, and they're Palestinians, so what? Say no! Because we are allowing them to kill innocent Jews in Israel based on a lie called Palestine, they now are emboldened to kill us all over the world in the name of Islam. That's what jihadi Sharia Islam is all about. So standing up and defending Jews in Israel is about standing up and defending your own countries and your own friends, family, and neighbors in your own country. That's so simple. How many more Jews have to die? Unfortunately, I hope none, Shani. I really hope none. Margaret, the Jews won every battle over the land against their enemies. It belongs to Jews. Right, Margaret? And not just because we won, but it belongs to the Jews, and we had to win every battle, even and according to the law of war. They lost. Get out of here. We won, but it's our land from time immemorial. Alexander Thomas, the only occupation is the Muslims. 100%. They are the ones through conquest that occupies the Middle East and North Africa countries. Surely, false history, even civilization that's come against the Jewish people have disappeared from the earth. The Pallies will disappear. 100%. Surely you hit the nail on the head. The history books will not mention Palestinians. They're going to be gone from the history books. They're going to be a blimp on the timeline of history, totally forgotten, gone. Why? Because they tried to go after the Jews. And there's no validity. At least the Romans were a true empire, right? They were a true empire. They tried to kill the Jews. Well, they're in the history books because they did a lot of things besides trying to destroy Judea and expel the Jews and exterminate the Jewish people from existing in the world. But the Palestinian who call themselves Palestinians, they only have one purpose in the world, to kill the Jews. They have nothing else. They haven't invented anything. They haven't done anything good in the world. Nothing. So they will be forgotten by the history books because their only purpose right now is to destroy Israel and kill Jews. So they will disappear from the history books. It's clear. Brian talked about the video, right? Amal, it's time to stop them for good. 100% Amal. And again, the West is looking at Israel because the West doesn't want to fight terror. The liberal, progressive West, who believes in multiculturalism, they can't call out, they can't see that there is evil in Islam, in jihadi Sharia Islam. They can't see terror as an overall plan to destroy the West. They look as a terrorist as an individual, a murderer. And that they look, oh, he has mental problems. Oh, that one, he also had mental problems. Oh, that one, he also has some problems. Look at the headlines whenever there is a terror attack in the West. They always pinpoint, oh, this guy must have had problems, right? They don't allow themselves, the Western liberal progressive mindset does not allow to look at that there is a problem within Islam, that there is a strategy to kill infidels and to take over the West for Islam to rule the world. They don't allow themselves to think that. So it's up to us that they look to us to fight terror. So we're the ones on the front line fighting terror for the whole freedom-loving world, basically. Marjorie, Israel needs to stop thinking that giving everyone a chance will achieve peace. Those jobs belong to Jews, only when others in need first. Round up all arrows and support them. End of story. Get the enemy out of our land. All right. So I talked about that before, Marjorie. And yes, Israel is developing jobs and finding jobs for for Israelis and for Olim or Jews who come live here, who return to live in our homeland. But I believe, again, in the end, most of these Arabs will leave. Israel will never expel them, but because of a war or because of economic incentives or whatever, most of them will leave. Don't know when, but I believe it's going to happen. Charlotte, we were named the Palestinian Baron. Right, let us live. Right, there we go. Spoke about that earlier. Alexander, they arrived around November 636, and the stupid Byzantine bishop of Jerusalem capitulated to the Rashidun Caliphate. Right. So Alexander's giving us background that that our land was conquered by the Muslims in the 7th century, and then there was a time period when the Byzantinians, the Catholic world, conquered this area, and they also expelled the Jews from Jerusalem and parts of Israel. The Catholics I'm talking about, or the Christian world. Again, I'm not an expert in Christianity, so please don't hold me to which sect I'm talking about. Don't know the details on that, but again, it was the Byzantinian, the Christian world of Byzantine times, that expelled all Jews not able to live in Jerusalem for a certain period of time. But again, yes, but it is talking about how there were Christian conquerors and occupiers of the Holy Land. There were Muslim occupiers and conquerors of the Holy Land. But again, who did the land belong to beforehand, and who does it belong to now? The Jews. It always belonged to the Jews. David Shear, happening in Europe now. Exactly. Great seeing you, David. Happens to be a close person who I know. Thanks for tuning in, David. Love to the whole family. Amal, yes, ask me. I'm ex-Muslim. Islam is a dark cult. Wow, Amal Christian. Sounds like Amal was Muslim and converted to Christianity. So Amal knows exactly what I'm talking about and even more. So anyone, if you have questions, ask Amal. Amal, love to connect with you. Love to connect with you offline. Thank you so much for adding that in. Dawn, I understand Jews and Christians are getting killed. America is up to election. This time it's freedom versus socialists. It used to be Democratic versus Republicans. That's a very poignant point, Dawn. Everyone listen to what Dawn just wrote. Yeah, and if anything, this Judge Kavanaugh case in America has really highlighted the deep divide that's developed and continuing to develop in America. And as Dawn is saying, it's no longer Republican or Democrats, because I know a lot of Democrats that are really disgusted with what just happened with Judge Brett Kavanaugh, disgusted with how the party acted, or representatives or leaders of the party acted, and it's no longer a Democrat-Republican thing, but it has to do with those who are looking for freedom. And again, I didn't want to go into politics, but Dawn brought this up, so I'll go into it for a second. Donald Trump is very much an independent a politician. I believe he more was a Democrat before than a Republican, but he obviously he's not following party lines of the Republicans. He's not following party lines of the Democrats. He very much is looking after the freedom of America and the freedom of Americans. And he latched onto the Republican Party because that is the party that still has a semblance of looking after America and Americans' freedom, whereas a large percentage of the Democratic Party's leadership and elected officials have become more socialists, globalists, multiculturalists, and not necessarily proud of America, understanding the uniqueness of America, the specialness of America. So Dawn made a very, very poignant point there about that. Carmen, what about the Assyrians from Iraq? Oh, in terms of becoming minorities under ethnic minorities under Islam, that they were conquered. Yes, Assyrians are historic people in the Middle East, and they are now minorities oppressed by Muslims. Yaakov, my great-great-grandparents were Palestinians. Stupid world needs to learn basic history. Yes, Yaakov is a Jew who lives here in Israel, and he's referring to his great-great-grandparents who lived in this land pre-1948, and their passports at the time were British Mandate of Palestine. So you can call them Palestinians, and they were Jews, and that's exactly it. There is no nation of Muslim Palestinians. When this place was called the British Mandate of Palestine, there were Jewish Palestinians, Christian Palestinians, Muslim Palestinians, Baha'i Palestinians, right? Because they happened to live in a geographic location that was called Palestine by Rome, and then was never used by a people. But so everyone living here, Jews, Christians, Muslims, were called Palestinians, but there is no Muslim Palestinian nation that have national rights to this land. That's the exact point. It's the Jewish homeland. Yes, Kaz, Shalom, thank you, Kaz. Holly, Palestine means invader. Talking about Plishtim, right? The Philistines, exactly, Holly. I spoke about the Philistines, the biblical Philistines. That word actually means invader, exactly. So here, today's Arabs who self-identify and mistakenly call themselves Palestinians are calling themselves that they're descendants of the historic biblical people who were invaders. So yeah, you gotta love the irony of that. And again, for those who did not hear the point earlier, it's wonderful that you're saying you're descendants of this biblical people called the invaders, the Plishtim, who fought the Jews, but they disappeared from the history books. So you're the first person in thousands and 3,000 years to say you're descended from them. You can't just say that. Show us the proof. They have no proof. They're not descendants. They're just lying to the world. There is no Charlotte coexistence. Arabs use taqiyya, deception, to pretend until they strike. Charlotte is 100% correct. That is a very critical concept in Islam. And again, if you listen carefully to what Muslims say in Arabic, you got to find the videos where they're English subtitles. They talk about the treaty that Muhammad made with a Jewish tribe back when he was starting to develop Islam, right? He wanted to convert everyone to convert to Islam. He wanted this Jewish tribe to convert to Islam, and the Jews didn't want to. The Jews were fighting him, so the Jews were stronger and they were beating him, so he made a treaty. And he explained, why do you make the treaty? He goes, he didn't make the treaty to live in peace. I made the treaty in order to wait till they're weak. So then when they're weak and I'm stronger, I will defeat them. And that's exactly what he did. And then he killed all the Jewish men, women, raped the women, pillaged them. That Jewish tribe was decimated, forcibly converted survivors to be Muslims. And any time there is a peace deal with the Muslim world, Arafat said this himself after Oslo, 1992, 1993. Arafat was speaking in Arabic in South Africa. There is a videotape, and he said specifically, when people were complaining, how'd you make a peace deal with the Jews? You can't do that. He said, well, I did the same thing that Muhammad did. I just made this treaty because I'm going to wait till we can then destroy them. That's what the Oslo peace process is about. That's what the creation of a state called Palestine is about. It's a process, it's a step in the stage to ultimately decimate the Jewish state of Israel and murder Jews. Alexander was literally handed over to Omar around, Jerusalem was literally handed over to Omar around 637, so the Al-Aqsa Mosque doesn't have any right to even be on top of Har Bayt, neither does Haram HaSharif. Right? Again, Alexander, I'm just going to sum that up for everyone else. The Temple Mount was built by the Jews. The Muslims built their mosque on top after they occupied and conquered. Well, whose land is it? It's the ones who built below, not the ones who built above. And the Jews built below, and we're back. We're back as the sovereign in our homeland. Rosalind, only one language these people understand. Has not Israel learned that after the wars, the murder of innocent people, Gaza? I understand precarious choices the government has to make, but I'm convinced in the end there is only one choice. The choice is not made, there will be more will be killed. Stop fighting a publicity war and start fighting the real thing. Okay, Rosalind. Okay, so Rosalind makes a strong point that I have to deal with, because here I'm talking about us fighting on the publicity war. Okay, Rosalind. I'm a soldier. I served in the Israeli army. Golani, infantry, just like Ari, reserve soldier, still serve even though I don't have to. I now volunteer, continue to serve as an infantry soldier, able to be called upon and fight and defend whenever necessary. Okay, same thing as Ari, same thing as most of my friends. Well, those who are still serving even though they're past the age of having to serve. We are not going to raise up and take the law into our own hands, even though it is very painful to see our own government not do enough to stop this terror. Okay, and I'm saying that straight out. Ari was pained, I'm pained, our families are pained, friends are pained. We want the Israeli government to be doing what we want it to do, to put an end to this terror, to put an end to the lie called Palestine, to put an end to the hope that these people called Palestinians can continue to murder us and take away our homes in all of Israel, and in Haifa and Tel Aviv and Jaffa and Tiberias. Right? We hope that today, I know Bibi knows it. I know Prime Minister Netanyahu knows it. He knows everything I'm saying. But he's not doing it yet. And yes, it's very upsetting he's not doing it yet. But me and my friends, we're not going to be taking up our arms to go out and kill who we believe to be our enemies without getting the order from the Israeli government. We're just not going to do that, because that will just cause greater chaos and harm Israel even more so. Because think of it like this. With all the pain we have in seeing innocent Jews being murdered on not necessarily a daily basis, weekly, monthly basis, if, and again this is an if all of a sudden Jews would start going into Arab villages on their own, not as part of an Israeli government-sanctioned IDF operation. We just on our own started going in and trying to do what we thought was necessary, what it was going after the terrorist families, destroying their homes, even maybe killing them when they're trying to shoot us, but we go into their villages. If any of us Jews tried to do that, the headlines in the world would be crucifying Israel, crucifying the Jewish people. Jews around the world would be vilified in the press and by their own host governments, and Israel diplomatically would have his hands tied behind its back, even by a United States of America under a President Trump. So, yes, it's painful. We have our hands tied behind our back. But me and Ari as well, even though Ari was a fighter, and more of a fighter than I was, better soldier than I was, better leader on the field than I was, than on the military field, on the battlefield. Me and even Ari would not go out and just gather some guys and go do stuff, because we know that in the short run and the long run, that would cause even more problems for Israel and lead to even more deaths. So, while it pains us that each and every day we witness more and more innocent Jews being murdered in the name of lies against us, and the world accept these lies, and even fellow Jews and Israelis accept these lies, I have to do my job, and Ari was doing his job, to educate as many people as possible, to set the stage for the day when an Israeli government can make the right decisions and can send the Israeli army to go in and put an end to this like it should be. Gaza should not be allowed to shoot rockets, should not be allowed to put up fire balloons, should not be allowed to cross the border fence every day to plant bombs. It's like ludicrous. So it's my job, and it was Ari's job. When we're called up for service, we will serve in the IDF and do what's necessary. But if we're not called up for service, then our jobs are not using our guns unsanctioned by the Israeli government. Our job is to educate, to set the stage for that day that should come as soon as possible, for when the Israeli government will have the public support necessary to give the orders necessary to put a total stop to the terror that's against us, to the lie of Palestine, and to the facade of a people called Palestinians that are only created to destroy us. So I hope that explains that for you, Roslyn, and everyone else. Guys, I gotta go. There are plenty of more comments I'm not going to get to right now. I apologize. I really want to get to all of them, but I have to end this right now. And again, just as a follow-up for everyone who's joined, unfortunately, once again, another 2 innocent Jews were murdered. A third was injured in an industrial plant run by Israeli companies to give jobs to the Muslim Arabs who live in Judea and Samaria, so they can have a better life, so that we can live together in peace and coexistence. So peace and coexistence is possible, but again, it's not going to happen until you help me and you help Ari, even though he's up above. Help him by day after day, telling your friends and family and using your social media channels to explain to people Palestine never existed. There never was a country of Palestine. There never was a people called Palestinians. We got to get rid of those lies. Helping us get rid of those lies will help develop the public support necessary for an Israeli government to do what needs to be done to end this. That's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Help me spread the truth. Help us make this world a better place, because it's not just us and Israel. Israel is on the front line for the whole freedom-loving world. Get your friends and family to understand that. We are on the front lines for all of you. Help us stop the Islamic terror here, so that then it can be stopped from growing where you are. Shalom from the ancestral homelands, the Jewish people, our eternal united capital, Jerusalem. Thanks for watching, everyone.